In today's episode, we have Linda Morrison, who is going to talk about how you can use Facebook to grow a following that will be eager to learn from you. You will also get to hear why you should be having one-on-one conversations with your ideal customer, why you don't need thousands of people in your space to be successful, and how to use Facebook so that it generates leads for years to come. And now, on with the show. Welcome to the Online Course Igniter podcast, where you'll hear from successful course creators and how they were able to turn their passion into a thriving online business empire. Hey everyone, thank you for checking out the show today. We have Linda Morrison, the wealthy online coach with us, who's going to give us some tips and tricks and strategies for using organic methods to get people into our programs. And I'm really excited to have her today. I know that some people out there might be an expert in their field, or maybe they're a really good coach, but they don't understand the marketing side. They don't understand how to get people to their program. And Linda's going to help us out with that today. So how are you doing today?
Thank you, Jeremy, for that really nice introduction, and thank you all for having me here. It's great.
Yeah, for sure. We're excited to have you. I know you're on the other side of the world right now, and but I'm glad that you took time out of your day to come on the podcast and just share the knowledge that you have. But we always like to start in the very beginning and kind of hear people's stories and where they came from. I think that's always very exciting, at least for me to hear people's backgrounds. So if you could just maybe give us a couple minutes and let us know what you were doing before you got into online business, and then how did you transfer into the online business coaching online course world?
Great. Thank you so much. I, like many, probably don't think my story is all that interesting, though when I get into it, I start thinking, yeah, I did do that, and I did do that. Thanks, Jeremy. So I am very new, they might say, to the digital world. So don't despair, anyone, if they struggle with anything technical or digital. If I can learn it, anybody can. My background is very much, I had a sociology degree, very much in fitness. So way back when I was at university, I put myself through university by being a personal trainer, a coach, everything. I did everything in fitness. And at that time, success coaching and motivation coaching and things like that was really in. And so I rode that wave really, and had lots of corporates and lots of CEOs of companies that were my clients. And I really got to cut my teeth at a very young age on coaching and the coaching world. And forward from that, set up wellness offices in my 20s. Had two children who are now coming up 19 and 21, both medical students now themselves. So I had very strong sort of science, health sciences background, really, and was always interested in psychology and sociology and what made people tick. So fast forward a separation and divorce from my father of my children. Around about 10 years ago, I realized that it wasn't my path to open a studio or another health center where we looked after many, many clients. I was actually going to move into bringing my coaching services into the online space. And at the time, I knew that I didn't have any skills. I could rarely even open my internet banking at that time. I still went into the bank, just me and all the old ladies in there. So I had to put on my student pants again very much and really just study everything to do with this thing called online marketing, and how to use computers and all the rest of it. So I started doing that every single day, basically, and worked extremely hard developing those skills, and also got in touch with the best coaches in the world that were developing online courses at that time. Started my Ageless Body 6-week transformation for women over 40 and stepped fully into that space of transforming women's bodies over 40. which I had always done in my work anyway. I always worked with all different types of people, but we concentrated on taking care of these women that take care of everybody and everything, and just blew it out of the water. Basically, was getting 15, 20 applications a day to come into my programs, and we did very well. Then, around about 6 years ago, 5 or 6 years ago, I was finding many marketers coming into the space of trying to help people with their online businesses, teaching people um, not great things. So they weren't pragmatic or practical. They're well meaning marketing coaches, might I add, but a lot was redundant and became redundant very quickly. Also,
Mhm.
we know in the online space it moves fast. So I started teaching fantastic coaches, and they're anyone from financial coaches to psychologists to doctors, chiropractors, health coaches, naturopaths, you name it, how to develop their online courses and get people into them on a daily basis. So that's it. In between that, I make sure I look after my children. We have a beautiful. I'm very thankful for my lifestyle. I'm very thankful with how I recovered from a, a difficult divorce, and everyone's got their story with uh, pulling together a transformation after loss, and online coaching has allowed me to immediately go global, meet people like yourself and others across the world, and genuinely help people find a way forward with what seems like a quagmire to get their services out there to help people. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, and it's very interesting. You hear online coaches and online courses, and you might think that they're separate, but they really go hand in hand. The course is usually just the material that you can give someone. The coaching is the accountability that really helps them out. And I started with courses, but I've moved into a coaching role now. But when you started out and you began helping people, how were you attracting people to your services? How were you finding those people and scheduling these coaching calls and getting clients in the door?
That's a great question. And at the time, I was under quite a lot of financial pressure and stress as well. So I actually would wake each day and just say, who will I help and how will I help them? Everyone has a different way of saying these things or praying, if you like, but I really genuinely wanted to help people, and I had done it all of my life anyway. So I just needed to find a way to do it online. So I did find a coach that actually helped me to set up my initial and first Facebook ad, which ran for quite some time, probably about 4 or 5 years, until things started to change with algorithms once again. That did really well, but very quickly, because we moved so quickly and we had such great results with our clients, because that's ultimately why we are here, to shift people from A to B and do it in a way that really enhances their life. That's the people I get to work with now in developing the businesses. So we started getting huge referrals as well. So they were the two main streams. Obviously, I wrote, and I still encourage this to this day. I wrote prolifically about our results and our services and our heart, I suppose, what was behind all of it, because we all can click a link and get something. But I really believe if you are a really good practitioner, that needs to come through in your personality and your writings and things like that. And ironically, I was not the writer in our family. My sister is a terrific writer, and she has a marketing degree and public relations, and she's just terrific in this space. But I wrote very emotionally, and of course people buy when they feel connection and they feel that person is trustworthy and they can take them forward. So that's the ultimate, really, of the marketing there. But I concentrate now, and I became once the Facebook ads started to shift, and in the health space, there's often words you can't say, so we got kind of watered down, if you like, and so then I
Mhm.
started learning much, much, much more about organic lead generation. And now we've got techniques on our programs that work. And I try and test absolutely everything on my own businesses first before I roll it out to my clients, because I believe that test, 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 as they say in the marketing world, the advertising world. And that's really the way to get a premium product as well. And so I'm very, very thorough in doing that, and that's probably that trainer and coach and sociologist in me, and that obsession around mastery. So I want to know it fully before I go and teach it. And I think in this day and age of quick links and quick this, quick that, sometimes you don't get you get information. You really get to a point of mastery. So yeah, so I'm quite obsessed about that part of quality, I suppose, that comes through everything. So yeah, our courses teach all of that. They're all obviously delivered online around the world. Two-thirds of my clients are overseas at any one time. Australia's a large country, but not a large number of people here. So, and we're also, really well received by the rest of the world, which I'm very thankful for. So our communication is really good. We have lots of fun on these courses, because quite often, the average age is not 20 who I'm teaching. These are people who are established practitioners, and they just don't know how to get in front of people. I'm also very, very willing, and Jeremy would know this, to actually talk to people. And I think in this day and age of, click buy, there's not a lot of coaches like that, or there's getting fewer. So I really like that connection, and no call is ever wasted. It gives me data, it gives me feedback, information, that about my business, about my marketing, about what people are perceiving of it. So that's it, really. I think if you stay in that place of serving, you will always thrive. Hope that
Yeah, I
makes
like that a lot. Stay in a place of serving and you always thrive. Yeah, you were talking about, success and motivational in the past, and I've always loved that Zig Ziglar quote that you can help if you can get everything in life that you want if you help enough people get what they want. And it's the same thing that you said, that if you are always in a helping zone, eventually you're going to come around to the things that you want in life, because in helping others it will allow you to become more successful. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, 100%. And it also this experience of the really getting good at organic lead generation through these mediums that we have in front of us in our iPhone virtually is it's giving us feedback all of the time. And there's no yeah I believe there's no conversation wasted, because it really does help us to understand what our marketplace is. And also, we're all here to walk, help, or I believe, to walk each other home. So I've got really, really, really great and fantastic skills in a lot of things. My podcast is now at its 18th episode, and I'm enjoying that greatly. But we've stepped up that production. So what did I do? I went and got a really great coach that can help me get really refined with that, and that's how the world goes around. So, and I paid for that. I'm really engaged with that. Sometimes I don't like what that coach tells me to do, but that's how it works. So, so yeah, there's always someone to help you. You've just got to get really clear on what you're wanting, and then go and ask them. Get to the best people. So, yeah, I want to work with the best, coaches in the world that just don't know how to get to the people. And sometimes they overcomplicate that, because there's leads everywhere. You go to the hairdresser, there's leads. You go, have a conversation with somebody online on Facebook and they need help. there's a lead, and a lot of people are not seeing that. And yeah, so it's just about us. Yeah, sorry.
No, no, that sounds great. I definitely agree. Once I got into online business and started looking at the world a little differently, I agree that if you just open up your eyes, you'll see opportunity everywhere. So let's jump into the organic strategies and how we can help out someone. So if you have someone who is a coach and maybe they're like an expert in the thing that they coach or they teach, and they know their material, they can teach it and all this, but they just can't get their message out to people. They can't find people, and someone comes to you looking for help. What are the first steps that you advise someone in that process?
I think to start to write prolifically, so start writing as much as you possibly can about your business, about how you help, and then start. Well, I tell my clients to go and find 10 people to interview. So 10 people that you think are your ideal client. And they may not be, they might be a bit off, but go and talk to them and, have a phone conversation with them, a Zoom conversation with them, and just ask them, can I have 10 minutes of your time to ask you a few questions about how I'm presenting my new course or program um, that's launching? And most people will want to help you. And maybe you'll ask 10 and five will hop on a call, but you're gathering data all of the time. And what you're actually getting there, because the experts get into the expert space, they start speaking like an expert, which actually polarizes them away from, um, doesn't necessarily attract their clients because their clients don't get it. It's too jargony. They're not really into it. They just actually want the result, don't they? They don't want to hear all of the steps and the difficult jargon that that expert knows about. So, gathering the language that the person is, the potential client, if you like, on these conversations is saying is really, really important. And very few people do it. So, that's where I start with my clients. And my clients also can't believe how valuable that is. So they say, well, my message was wrong because it's what I'm wanting. I'm giving, the bath water and the bath instead of just telling them there's a result. There's a result at the end of this, and concentrating on that. And as you know, our friend, it's not my friend actually, but I do love his stuff. Frank Kern says, say it's Mother's Day, and you want to make your wife feel as if she's the best mother in the world. It's not that you want to buy her flowers, it's that you want to make her feel as if she's appreciated, loved, paid attention to, etc. It's not the flowers that you're buying. So, having these conversations as much as possible and getting really, really, really clear in that, having the conversation inside of their mind with them in your marketing, in your copy, in your live calls, in everything is what you do with your marketing. The other thing is seeing yourself as, the day I saw myself as a digital marketer that has health businesses, coaching businesses, business coaching businesses, was the day my business turned around. So I had to see myself as a digital marketer, not as a practitioner or a coach of that thing, even though that's what I deliver and I deliver it to the highest standards possible. Um, so as soon as I got that shift, I put myself in that in those shoes. Does that make sense, Jeremy? Am I on the right?
Yeah, it makes perfect sense, and I can relate because when I was early years of creating courses, I viewed myself as an online course creator, and I viewed myself as someone who just needs to create courses all the time. Well, as we've come to know that you can't just create a course and sell it if there's no people to buy it, and
Mm,
so I had to have that same switch where I'm not just an online course creator. I'm a business owner. I'm a marketer. I need to go and do the other half of the business, which isn't just creating online courses. So I think that makes complete sense. Hello, course creators. Are you struggling with marketing and selling your online course? If so, then head over to our free community where successful course creators are ready to help you create, market, and sell your expertise. Go to onlinecourseigniter.com/community now to join. That's onlinecourseigniter.com/community. So let's talk about some organic strategies that people can use who are listening to the podcast, some things that you're familiar with. What are some of the strategies that you see that are working today or ones that you recommend to your clients?
Well, my one that's very in people's faces at the moment, because of course Facebook's I think entire business model is to have us on Facebook for 10 hours a day, everybody. You get that? So I'll start there and I'll give some gems. I can't tell you the whole strategy because it is quite step by step. What is really great and what Facebook has given and driven for me, probably how I got to know you, Jeremy. Okay, so what it's given and driven for me is the ability to be able to have quite connected, quite quick conversations with people and convert them into a client in the in an organic fashion. So as I just said before, my Facebook ads were turned off maybe 6 years ago, and that's when I started becoming this geek around organic lead generation, which is really content marketing, where you're allowing yourself to be really connected to your audiences. You don't need tens of thousands of people to create a very lucrative online business. So, if your business model is, of course, as we know, to sell something for $10, you might, but you actually don't under our business models that we teach. Because remember, we teach what I know, and what I know works. So, what I'm actually seeing is that people create this content, say a blog or a video blog, and it's quite good. And then there's people milling around it, and they're not actually taking these people to the next stage of the conversation. So I've worked out a whole strategy where you take this conversation that might start and spark up to an actual private conversation and then a call. So that is one very, very simple way. Now, a lot of people will say, oh, that's nothing. That won't work. That doesn't make sense. I get a client that way every day, every single day. So if I sell a product for $1,000 even every single day, 360 days a year, I've got a pretty good business, because then once you get a satisfied customer, they're likely to buy something else from you once they're in. But there's a lot of heart behind this, and I'm actually thinking about these customers, drawing them in, making sure, they have possibly and probably looked at about 32 pieces of content. We know, on average, isn't it like 32 pieces of content over 21 days before they'll even say anything to you, or say hi, or say I like that, or even, tick the love button or whatever. But so you're nourishing all of the time, and you just don't know online who you're influencing. It's quite remarkable. You've got to stay open to this. You've got to know that you want to be there helping people. I think some people don't realize that they can repel people fairly quickly in this constant conversation that you're having. Now, you're not having a conversation like we're having now, but you're having a conversation with your marketing to the inside of their mind, to their thoughts. So it's that sort of conversation. And it never ceases to amaze me how many people say, I've been watching you for 2 years and now I feel confident to step towards your course. And I'm like, why didn't you reach out sooner? I'm not getting any younger. but that's them, that's them and that's me. That's why I'm the leader if I decide I want to do it today, And that's remarkable to me, that you can do that. And you've got to remember, with organic lead generation, you're sort of saving yourself between $500 and $1,000 a day, because you're not got these Facebook ads turned on. And now, I'm not against Facebook ads, and in some business models, of course, they're fantastic, and what a great place to be, and how lucky are we to have these advertising mediums now. It's just that when you're a startup, you've got to gather more data. And we still know you probably want to work with about 500 clients before you switch on Facebook ads. This is something that's been known in the industry for a long, long time. And that allows you to switch on a much more, you know, appropriate ad to that audience and to make your offer very clear to them. Yeah, so clarity is really important. Staying in that place of help, knowing that your course is a really nice fit. Sometimes I get on a call and I go, this course I've got in mind for them is just not the right fit. And if there is another I have for them, I will suggest it. But there is that flow that you need with where you're going to take this person in a genuine fashion, and then of course delivering of your materials becomes something really, really easy. I'm a very natural teacher and natural coach. I'm about to go into a 2-day marketing summit online in the next 2 days, and I'm really excited about that because I'll be in my element. And
Mhm.
the making of the funnels isn't my favorite bit, though I have learnt to do it, Jeremy. Yeah. I've learned to do it and I'm very good at it now. But at the beginning, it was so, so clunky. But I wanted to know what my business was. I wanted to know the mastery. I'm all for outreach and I'm all for coaching, but you've really got to know what your business is to make it thrive. And as these online businesses go and grow so fast, I think we need to be ahead of that. So we do thoroughly teach you what your business is. None of this just slap up a beautiful brand and banner, and you think you're on your way. You've got to get your hands dirty a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. So, someone who is starting out and they're thinking, I'm already on Facebook, and you're saying that Facebook is a great way to get leads into your business. What methods are you using specifically? I know that some people use their personal profile, other people say use a page, some people say pages are worthless, other people say use a group. What methods are you using to generate leads on Facebook particularly?
Yeah, so definitely have your Facebook personal profile and your business profile um, abundant and buoyant, if you like. Try to fill it, of course, with your ideal clients. For example, when I was cleaning up my Facebook page quite some time ago, I think I got rid of, it was like a joke, I got rid of 11 Jasons and one Jazzy Jeff. And the majority of my clients happen to be women and they happen not to be 20. So if you're a, gorgeous Asian boy who's, 18, and you're not probably my client, so you know, which is, that's cool. That's for somebody else. But it's really, filling up your world with people who really are, not your cousin and your guys that were your ex-boyfriends, at high school. They're probably not going to buy from you. Not saying that they won't, but so you fill up your world there, and then also a group. And uh, a lot of people are sprouting about how big their groups have got. Now, what we know is small groups can do extremely well. So, and that's where you've pre-qualified those people to come in. So I think I'm in Jeremy's group. I think he's in mine. We are geeks around what we're talking about here, which is everything about online business and course creation, etc. So those groups work very well. So yeah, I'm teaching entire methods around there, and then from there how to keep the pages really fresh and interesting to people, and and that there's a algorithm that I use a format there that I teach that's worked for me for 10 years, and of course I've got better and better at it. Um, and yeah, so there's sort of step by step there, but that's where I'd start. So, and don't let anybody tell you that works, that doesn't work, that works, that works. Quite often, they haven't really tried. They haven't certainly tried it in the way that we teach it. And you've got to believe as well. There's a bit of belief behind all this stuff. You've got to nourish it, nurture it, and really think about your posts and your copy. If I'm not in the mood to write or do a video blog, I don't do it at that moment. I do it. I wait until I've got a little bit more, sort of spark or creativity coming through, because I really feel that you can feel that through the internet. You can feel the
Mhm.
nuances. You can feel that people really genuinely want to help, that they are connected. Remember, sales is connection, and yeah, so that's hopefully that's a little bit more helpful. But also really notice that people really are there, and reach out to them and just say, how do you feel that you'd like to be helped in this area at the moment, instead of telling them what they need, which we sometimes have to do as well, of course, when we're teaching them. But I think that's a really important thing for people to understand. Yes, you are the expert, but really listen to your potential customers and be available.
Yeah, I love that. That's awesome, and I like the idea of listening to the people paying attention to you because how often do people go on and they do a Facebook Live and they complain, "Oh, I only got a couple likes or only a couple people watch," but then they never follow up with those people. So it'd make more sense to go find those three or four people who did watch the whole live and reach out to them and talk to them and see how you can help.
100%.
When
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I started with an email list of 10 people, and big deal. It's 10 people that really want to hear your message.
That's right. So when it comes to creating the actual content for Facebook, what kind of strategies do you recommend for posting on your pages versus your groups? Is there anything that you can tell us about how you come up with content to create? Is it just on a whim, or do you have like a content calendar where you go through and you're really thinking through the stuff that you want to publish?
Yeah, no, I've got, yeah, whole systems that we teach about rolling through what you are promoting at that time. But with content and valuable content to people, there's really only 3 to 5 main messages in your business anyway. And if you are trying to give them 12, it's confusing. So there's 3 to 5 main messages, and a lot of people go really wrong with their businesses because they don't understand. They think they're selling one thing, but the customer wants something completely different. So if I give a really great example of my ageless body business, the majority of those women that come to me want a body transformation. They want to feel better. They want to look better. They want to lose weight. So if I don't speak about helping them to lose some weight, I miss the point. Yes, we talk about mindset, we talk about positive thinking, we talk about, you know, picking up some weights, because I really am a lifelong learner around weight training, and I think it's really important. Not enough people moved last year either. Um, yes, we're going to teach about all of those things, but actually, the result that the people are wanting is to lose weight, and they want to feel good in their body. They want to feel really, really, really good in their body. So if I miss that mark, I miss my marketplace. At the time when we started that business online, I was so sick of weight loss, Jeremy. It was just crazy. I was like, "Oh, I'm so sick of talking about weight loss." I'm turning 40. I'm sick of talking about weight loss. You'd have to live under a rock not to know that you got to eat your broccoli, move your body more, get some. And so I was really, really tired of it. So I needed to find a way to speak to these women. So what it was mainly women. Obviously work with men, and some men come through our businesses as well, of course. The online marketing business, but this business here, they still get their transformations through me. But they wanted to lose some weight. Will I get to lose weight? And of course, they all did, and the results were amazing because we looked after the other things. But I knew as a marketer and a person in the space that I had to talk about getting them that result, because that's what most people want. We've got communities that now 85, and I don't want to geek people out over this area, but I am I've been a health coach a long time, but we've got about 80% of the population that wants to lose some weight. They want to sharpen up that part of their their lives. And they also know it's access to more. It's access to more vitality, energy, creativity, self confidence, all of the rest of it that comes with having, a nice, healthy body. So a lot of these, people that are trying to put their businesses out there don't really know what it is that they sell. So if you don't know that, it's going to be really, really hard to get your copy together and your that connectedness with that audience together. And then of course the experts always try to give too much information, which repels the audience. The audience just go away. It's too hard. If you make it too hard, they don't want to. They don't know where to start, so they won't start because they're already. People's biggest problem at the moment is overwhelm, anxiety, feeling stuck, got too much to do. So make it simple for them in the delivery. Give them one or two gems of information that are absolutely what they're wanting. And you can see this coming through a lot of the marketers copy that is the best in the world at the moment. It's very simple, and they're definitely selling what they want. The reason I'm, got to get here talking to you, and I think the biggest reason that people come to me is that they want to earn more money. So they need to access better business, better conversation, better communication with those audiences. And of course, they say, "Oh, you want to help people? Want to help people?" I say, "Yeah, you got to get your bills paid, though." I don't know about you, but they keep coming at mine. So that having a buoyant, abundant business is also an energy alignment as well. So you give value, you get value back in the form of being paid well and not tiring yourself out because you're no good a coach to anybody if you're tired. So you need a whole business model around that. So yeah, getting really, really, really clear, Jeremy, on what is that main message, and then yeah, 3 to 5 messages that bleed through all of that. They keep the audiences really lubricated, if you like, and really into what you're saying and what you're talking about. And that takes a little bit of experimentation with our clients when they first come on board. You can't get good at that in 2 days. You've got to really test on that and get clear with yourself around what you are delivering in your courses. Don't be all things to all people.
Right. Yeah, that's definitely a big one. The more niche down and the more targeted you become, the easier it seems to become because then you're speaking directly to the right person. Do you have any type of schedule for content whenever you're posting on Facebook and you're trying to reach more people? Do you recommend any type of content schedule that you like to keep?
Yes, and it seems to be a little bit different for each person when they come through the course. And some of my creators don't want to be too overscheduled, which is fine. And others, like myself, um, if I schedule myself to go live at a certain time, and I haven't advertised, if I've advertised it, I'll go live. But sometimes I don't feel like it, so it needs to come at a different time. So yeah, sort of that depends on the person. So I'm a little bit fluid with that. I give them some help with that. The other thing is with COVID last year, we found very, very quickly that if you had a scheduled your next 6 months, it was the marketing needed to
Hmm.
shift because the people were in different states of well-being
Hmm.
last year. And of course, we've got international clients. So you guys are in your winter. We're coming out of our summer into our autumn now. So there's those types of differences and changes as well. And with organic lead generation, every say 6 to 12 months, we're shifting what works as well. So I'll roll things out. I'm testing at the moment my LinkedIn strategies and again, and my Facebook group strategies with the free courses, 2 to 5 day courses. I'm testing that at the moment to see how we're going to tweak that to teach people. But but the point is that you're ahead of the curve if you create really great connected content and be prolific with it because as Seth Godin says, the more you write, the more stuff, excuse my language, and the more great stuff will come through. You know, you can't just expect that you're going to be a world class copywriter in a moment, but no one will write like you. No one can take your that intellectual property from you. They can try, and they do. So yeah, if you get really good, you get a compliment of being sometimes stuff being taken from you, as has happened to me. But you got to keep creating because no one can catch you if you're the best, you know. So keep creating, and no one's going to love your business like you. So I've had different copywriters in the past and different people, you know, write things for me, and I've had to rewrite it because it hasn't bled through with my real voice. And I know my clients, really get to know your clients.
Very good. Yeah, that's a great answer. So, for the coach or the online course creator or the expert who is listening right now and is kind of struggling to um, do organic marketing or struggling to get people in their program or finding leads or prospects, what is the best piece of advice that you could give them to motivate them or to get them to start on their journey and get with it so they can reach the same level of success?
That's a great question. Hopefully, you've gathered some gems from the other stuff that we've actually said. I think getting, extremely, you cannot buy or get someone to help you with your enthusiasm around your business. So stay really buoyant with that because once that goes, it's really hard to attract in any way on a call, on a Zoom, on a presentation that you give, through your voice, in your copy, in anything. So that's really, really super important because people will want to be around enthusiastic people no matter what. So I think that's one of the main ones. And when I get clients on board who have lost that enthusiasm around their businesses, I can see straight away we're going to struggle. Does that make
Mhm.
sense?
Yeah, definitely. You gotta be enthused and motivated. Otherwise, why are you doing
Yeah,
it?
that's it. And everyone's got a different personality around that. I mean, I find you a pretty like smooth cruise character. I'm not all that rah rah high five either. But there's a strength and a belief there that I can definitely take people to where they need to go, unless I genuinely feel that they need someone else, you know. So I will therefore handball them to another expert in that's better than me in that space. So, for example, turning on Facebook ads at the moment. You know, I used to be fantastic at it, but it's changed. So that I would handball to somebody else. But but in terms of helping to write the copy and those sorts of things can definitely help with that. And by the way, I'm not a trained copywriter. I've just got good at it over the years by doing so much of it. And and then tell a story around what your business is. And that's what podcasting is really good with. I know that I've got Irish heritage and we are able to tell a yarn. So that's something that doesn't come naturally to me as an introvert, but I've gotten good at doing because I've realized that the audiences need to feel that they can trust and they want to know about me. Not all about me, but they want to know enough to know that they're in a safe place to grow their businesses and grow as people, if you like. Because of course, business allows us so much in our lives once it's lucrative and moving along and really matching what we want to do. So so yeah, I think I've talked enough, haven't I? Jackie, kinda
Yeah, you
boring.
you've done good. I could sit here and listen because I feel like you're giving some great information for people, and if they pay attention to the words you're saying, it just comes down to helping people and building those relationships. And I think you made a good case for that. So, if people would like to learn more about your business and you and how you might be able to help them out, where can they go for that information?
www Linda Morrison, so my name.com.au. So lindamorrison.com.au. That will be the fastest way. And I am prolific, it sounds like, on Facebook as well. So Linda Morrison, Ageless Body, and my name as well. So, and obviously I'm here in Australia, in Melbourne. And I will say this, as a person that was very confident in delivering offline, coming online was extremely daunting. And I did need to learn to get in front of the video and present in this manner. And it was very difficult. But as soon as I left my ego at the door and just thought about the people that I could help, it did actually help me. So I think a lot of people um, can possibly stay quite self-conscious that, are they doing it right? Are they doing it correct? I've done 14,000 live videos now, and I probably say in all of them. Half the time, I can forget my train of thought. Don't worry, because people aren't looking for perfect. They're actually just looking for results in what you can give them.
Yes, I agree. That's absolutely right. If you focus on the result, all that other stuff, the technology and the systems, they can come eventually, right?
That's it.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much, Linda, for coming on the show today. We appreciate you being here and sharing all of your knowledge. And I just hope that you have continued success in the future.
Thank you so much, Jeremy. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for joining us today, Linda. You can find out more about her and her business by visiting lindamorrison.com.au, or you can get the show notes of this episode along with links and resources by visiting onlinecourseigniter.com/31. Take care, everyone. Talk to you soon. Thank you for tuning in to the Online Course Igniter podcast. Make sure you subscribe wherever you're listening so that you don't miss an episode. If you would like to learn more marketing strategies and how to sell your online course, then also check out our free community where we share tips, tricks, and tutorials at onlinecourseigniter.com/community.